Have you ever been playing RuneScape and been like, oh man, this would be so much fun or so much easier if insert your friend's name here played this game? Well, I can tell you for sure I have countless times. For those of us who have played in our youth, it's easy to come back to RuneScape for nostalgic reasons, and nostalgia can be a powerful motivator when we achieve our goals we never thought possible as kids. However, when our friends lack that nostalgia factor, how do we convince them to play a game in 2023 with graphics in an age where if something isn't ray traced, we can't bear to look at it? In this video, I'm going to be talking about 5 different reasons why your friends should play Old School RuneScape. And by the end of it, we might have some new noobs to scam. I'm just kidding. Cue the intro. The first reason why your friends should try RuneScape is the dual nature of the game itself. Let's take a look at games like Call of Duty or Halo, for example. These are first-person shooters that are fast-paced, action-packed, and require a ton of focus. In some situations, that might be exactly what you're looking for, and oftentimes it's what we've come to expect from these type of franchises. But let's contrast that to RuneScape for a moment. You can play the game in 2 completely different ways. If you want to take it slow and watch Netflix, you can choose from countless AFK activities, from mining stars, chopping redwoods, fishing sharks, and killing ammonite crabs. Or if you want to sweat a little, with some higher intensity methods, you can participate in raids, do some Slayer while bossing, or engage in PvP combat. And the great thing about RuneScape is its nature isn't limited to high intensity versus AFK. It's a gradient, which has massive variety in every skill. You can even participate in moderate intensity activities from Wintertot to Temporos and Guardians of the Rift. My point is, RuneScape is whatever you want it to be. It's a game that's as flexible as your mood, and no matter what you do, you're making progress on your account. Even bank standing and chatting with people can be construed as leveling up your social skills. Okay, that's a bit of a stretch, but I hope I'm just getting my point across here. This leads nicely into my second reason why your friends should play Old School RuneScape: freedom. Now, don't get me wrong, I've played a lot of great linear storyline games like God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, or Jedi Fallen Order, but nothing compares to RuneScape's freedom. It's a freedom of choice. The world is your oyster and you are its pearl. You can do anything from thieving in the streets of Ardoin, to fishing on the slopes of a barbarian village, to battling ferocious monsters in dungeons filled to the brim with juicy loot. When you get bored of one activity, you can choose your next adventure, and the freedom of choice makes the game your limitless playground. Now, to some people, this can be seen as a reason for avoiding the game. The game is too big. I don't know what I'm doing. And try to put yourself in their shoes. It is a huge game and can be extremely overwhelming, especially when transitioning to members for the first time. My best advice here is to admit that it is a massive game with a lot to learn. I don't know if any one of us knows everything there is to know about RuneScape. I learn new things all the time, like you can use speedrunning worlds to sacrifice your fire cape and do the More Ulvrak challenge to practice Jad without having to go through the whole fight caves first. No one is going to be an expert at a new game when they first start, but take it slow, explore, and use the wiki if it helps you. You can't really do anything wrong in RuneScape, so to speak, even if it's not the most efficient use of your time. This is why I usually recommend doing all the quests and leveling skills to around 40 to 60 and free to play before moving on to members. It helps to get a feel for the rest of the game and introduces players to the basics in a relatively safe way before they move on to the rest of Gielinor. TLDR, the freedom in this game is mind-boggling, but can actually end up being a burden to newer players. Help them by offering suggestions, playing lower level content together, and showing them the wiki for some direction. My third reason why your friend should give RuneScape a try is the sense of progression you get while playing the game. I will admit the early game is rough. Do you remember the days when your run energy depleted halfway between Varrock and Lumbridge, or getting KO'd by the Dark Wizards just to have to run back and get your stuff to get KO'd again? It's frustrating for new players who have to run from Lumbridge to Port Sarum and take the boat to Karamja just to get to Brimhaven. And it's a real feeling of accomplishment when they finally unlock the Ardoin Easy Diaries and get that cape, use any teleport spell to quickly move between cities, or unlock fairy rings for the first time, because it takes the brutal edge off the game and unlocks some real quality of life features. For some people, not having this can be a real turnoff for trying a game. And for those of us who can get past the early game, the sense of progression in getting a valuable drop, completing a difficult quest, or unlocking a method to traverse the world in an easier or more efficient way can be something that is genuinely rewarding and difficult to find in games these days. RuneScape is all about setting your own goals and achieving them. And I think that other than buying gold and bonds and maybe some server stability and latency issues, we're all on a pretty even playing field. There aren't a whole lot of buyable achievements or microtransactions in the game, and it's really refreshing as a player when you see a unique account or a player with some serious boss KC, and you have a sense of respect for their achievements, progression, and skill in the game. One thing that may have gotten overlooked by the rest of the community was the release of the Activity Advisor. The Activity Advisor is a UI that helps suggest content for newer players and gives them tangible goals to work towards. Other games like Fallout 4 or Horizon Zero Dawn draw their players in through the central storyline and the introduction of powerful weapons that are introduced very, very early on into the game that are locked behind later content. And RuneScape desperately needed something to help new players gain some sense of direction and progression while they battle the beast that is complete and utter freedom. Our next topic is the economy. This game is so unique from many other games because of its carefully groomed economy. I absolutely love the concept and idea behind the Grand Exchange, and to me, it's the gold standard of trading in multiplayer games. It's really interesting to watch the market dynamics shift when players discover new metas for certain bosses or after specific updates. I always find it fascinating to observe the fluctuations for specific gear and items based on the real market principles of supply and demand. And I think Jagex does a really great job of maintaining a balance in the market by adjusting drop rates and item syncs accordingly. Merchanting and flipping is an aspect of money making that is rare or non-existent in a lot of other AAA titles, and it's something that makes Old School RuneScape really unique. Of course, RuneScape's markets is much easier to manipulate and predict than the real markets, i.e. merging clans and updates that lead to some pretty clear opportunities for flipping, but they do share some of the same principles. If your friends enjoy trading or investing in real life, then maybe the RuneScape economy could be a driving force in why they start to play. It's always a great feeling when you successfully flip something and make money out of thin air. Our final topic for why your friends should play RuneScape revolves around the grind and skill it takes to play the game. A lot of players who observe RuneScape from the outside see its graphics and gameplay as click tree, click bank, or click monster, click food. And to their defense, they are right in a lot of scenarios. RuneScape is undoubtedly the grindiest game I have ever played. Everything is a grind, and I mean everything. Some gamers want instant gratification, and that's just not what RuneScape is about. Sorry. That being said, the click here, click there mentality is completely misleading about mid and late game RuneScape. OSRS is seriously one of, if not the most challenging games I've ever played. From skills like tick manipulation, prayer flicking, red Xing, wooks walking, one tick flicking, tick eating, and combo eats, just to name a few, and those are the general ones. There are also boss specific skills like butterflying, special skipping, redemption flicking, phoenix necklace maze skipping, and scythe walking, to name a few. I have a video on my channel which covers a whole bunch of these skills in detail, so check it out if you're interested. The point I'm trying to make is that RuneScape is more than meets the eye. Although part of it is click fish, click fire, a whole lot of it includes some really challenging boss and raid encounters that give you unique opportunities to refine and improve your gameplay. I always like to say that RuneScape is actually a hidden rhythm game behind the scenes, and you don't really realize it until later on. It's more like Guitar Hero than Skyrim. Okay, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but you get the idea. RuneScape is seriously grindy game, but take it slow, make progress gradually, and enjoy the grind. Who knows, you may even look back on it with fondness or consider it one of your greatest gaming achievements, and that's hard to say about the skin you just bought on Fortnite or Warzone. I know I said this video was the top 5 reasons why your friends should play RuneScape, but I have a 6th reason for you all. And despite its deceptively simple click mechanics and 2007 graphics, RuneScape's community and developers care an awful lot about the game, economy, power creep, and balance. I've never seen a company or developers interact so much with the community through both Twitter, Reddit, and even players directly in the game. It's clear to see how much the Jagex moderators really care about the game and its longevity. The polling system in RuneScape is something I haven't seen elsewhere, and it's remarkable how well it's functioned to gatekeep good and bad content. Of course, good and bad are subjective to the player, but I'm consistently surprised at how often players are willing to forgo quality of life items for the sake of keeping it old school or the game's overall health. It's rare that developers take direct insight, feedback, and inspiration from a community, and it certainly hasn't gone unnoticed. Sure, some things could have been implemented without polls, while other things have been implemented differently from what their polls have suggested, cough cough, wilderness bosses being in singles plus. But overall, the polling system has helped to ensure we don't experience another evolution of combat disaster. RuneScape has a seriously awesome team backing it up, and that alone is reason enough to give it a try. Well, that's all I had for this video. I hope you enjoyed the content, and if you feel differently about anything I said or even agreed with something, then leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to like and subscribe as it really helps my channel grow. Thank you and have a great day.